Hi everyone, my name is Hannah Presley and I'm a member of the board here at Agency. My ancestors are from the Moyle River region in the Northern Territory and my family are Alice Springs mob. I'm a curator based here in Melbourne and I'm currently curating Primavera at the Museum of Contemporary Art. So all those in Sydney will be able to see the show from late November, so keep your eye out for that. I'm joining you tonight from my home, the place where I live and work here on Wiradjuri country. And I would like to acknowledge the Wiradjuri Woiwurrung people of the Eastern Kulin and pay my respects to their elders, past and present. It is a privilege to live on their beautiful lands. And I hope that wherever you are around the country, I hope you're all keeping safe and well. Agency celebrates and promotes Indigenous art, culture and people on a local, national and international scale through the initiation and facilitation of ethical and sound investments into Indigenous-led projects and partnerships. UNTOLD is a series of talks by inspiring Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people from diverse creative fields, tailored for audiences who are interested in the processes and ideas that shape our surroundings and experiences. UNTOLD brings together people to talk and listen and to share their intangible capital, knowledge, experience, histories, culture, and ideas. While many of us are in lockdown, we're hosting a series of online untold talks that Darwin last month. The Telstra Natsias are Australia's longest running and most prestigious art awards for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander artists. Each year, the awards showcase an incredible range of contemporary artworks from across the country. It's a difficult time out there with many of us in lockdown. So I hope you're all going to enjoy the talk session is between senior Tiwi artist Pedro Wonaeamirri, Jilamara Arts and Crafts Coordinator Will Heathcote, and curator, artist and scholar Brook Andrew. So Pedro Wonaeamirri grew up at Pirmitki. I should know that one, on Melville Island. He began painting and exhibiting in 1989, the same year that Jilamara Arts and Crafts was incorporated. Pedro is a senior cultural leader on the Tiwi Islands with a significant and strong knowledge of the hard Tiwi language and all of the songs and dances that are important to Tiwi culture. Alongside his esteemed visual arts career, he has also published many essays on Tiwi art and culture and ceremony. Pedro won the Telstra Multimedia Award at the 2021 Natsias for his powerful live performance of the Jilarti or brolga, which is his Tiwi totem or yoi dance. Will Heathcote is the current studio and workshops coordinator at Jilamara Arts and Crafts on the Tiwi Islands in the Northern Territory. He's a practicing visual artist who's shown extensively in Australia and internationally, in gallery exhibitions, public sculptural commissions, collaborative projects and studio residency programs. Brook Andrew is, his matrilineal kinship is from the Kaldar-Midday, or land of the three rivers of the Wiradjuri, and the Ngunnawal on his mother's father's line, both Aboriginal nations of Australia. And he's paternally Celtic. So he's an artist and scholar who is driven by the collisions and intertwined narratives often emerging from the mess of the colonial whole, and was artistic director of Niran, the 22nd Biennale of Sydney in 2020. Brook is joining us live from Italy, while Pedro and Will are coming from Jilamara Arts and Crafts on Melville Island. I hope you enjoy.
No, I think the work I put in next year is the bag container, bag basket, Tunga, Banga Tunga, potting sticks, Tjimirrikamarka, importer horse beard, Tokwayinga, Pirmitki. So those ornaments I made also, and also recording of me singing. So the recording also, the ornaments and the Tunga, they are part of the exhibition in next year. In Down.
And when you, you're on country and you're attending ceremony, you're calling out to the old people, but then you have your ornaments in Tunga and you go to the museum, it's a very different place. And what is that like for you when you go from country, but then you exhibit these, your world to other people?
Starting off on country, and after you finish on country, then you move to the next stage. It's like going to an exhibition, also presenting your work, also your voice has been heard. Also, when I put my work in next year, I want people to listen and understand of my work. It's a bit different from back home, on country, and also in the exhibition, but I found it really good, and putting my works in this year, I felt really strong.
Well, congratulations for the award. It was very strong.
Yeah.
Bravo, bravo. I mean, sound is so important, for culture, and maybe we can circle back to the Natsia Awards. And I just remember your work in Niren in the Biennale of Sydney last year, and Patrick came down. It was so great to see him as well. And maybe if we can see the first slides of that, of you and me when we first were in the space, and then maybe we can look at the work that you're created, because we talked a lot about. There we are, and you in Sydney. Look.
We were saying just before, Brooke, I think this was our last interstate trip, wasn't it, Pedro?
Oh.
Yeah. It's a while ago, but
So if we could have the next slide, please. I remember, how important the creation of this space was, for you, and the making of the work, and what was happening in your life at the time, but how very important the sound element was for this work. Because when people see this, or they see exhibitions, often they'll see sculptures, but they don't see the whole picture, like you said, like when you're on country with the Tunga and the ornaments, but then you go to a museum. But here you brought the sound along as well.
I think what you've just said, Brooke, the first slide we've seen me walking on country, also here in Sydney, the exhibition that you that I worked with Patrick and also Will helped us and you as well as an involvement and curator. But having this work here in Sydney, also the standing, the lighting, the recording of the singing of me, going on country, working with the Tunga is very its own country, but the recently Netsi Award, when I walked in the gallery, then also my Tunga and ornaments, parting sticks, and this one here in Sydney, seeing them in galleries, it's very different. Very different. The one I seen here with the sanding, the lighting, it reminds me of those poles that we have here on Melbourne Island, here near Milikapati. We still have poles out in the bush. There's still poles still out in the bush. It's like these ones I seen in Sydney. Then it's a lot of work, talking, making sure things are on the right track. So these ones are in the gallery. They're in a building. Very different the one out in the bush. I see another way. It's like when we start ceremony in the morning, then 12 o'clock, midday, then finish at 4. But when I see this one, bit similar, like all people, they had ceremony. Poles are never on the ground. Pole always standing. Always standing. So when we are dancing around. Also the sand. Sand is always there. When we have ceremony, my people, also my family, sand always there. Lighting, always there. We never have light when we have ceremony, but the light is from the sun. Sun shines the light. Also the sun tells the time. When do you stop? But when you start and have a break for lunch, And when you finish.
So great, Pedro. That reminds me of you telling me that story of when you were invited to go to the Vatican to see the tutini that they have at the Vatican from Milikapiti, from, Kalinari, like a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the first things you said to me was that, when you were invited there, what you did when you got to Italy was to sing, which makes me think, how important is song to the Poles?
Always, it's like ceremony. Every ceremony, we have songs. The dance, the song connects with the Pole. Paul, Rudeni, we're the only people who make this one. But going to the Vatican, when I saw those Poles, wow. And me and my auntie, we spoke in language and we said, then we will find a song. Then we found a song, then I sang to the Poles in Vatican. And the Poles are now in Vatican. First time for me, seeing them long way. They've traveled.
Yeah, long way.
But also, with this show, the sound, the light, also my recording of me singing, it's like ceremony. Ceremony still happening. The Poles are still making. The people are still making Poles.
Could we have the next slide, please? Oh, there we go. There's Patrick. And the next one. And the next slide, please. So Pedro, here's you and Patrick at the Opera House for the Niran. So this bit really, I mean, your song was there, but wasn't around, the Poles, the work.
No.
But it was to a big international Indigenous crowd,
Yes.
What was that like for you?
Oh, sometimes you sing in ceremony, very different to public, but for this picture, I thought, okay. We are already sang at the MCA. And I thought, Opera House. Famous place. Famous name. Okay, well, why not? Then I thought, singing in Opera House, singing. No. That made me feel very strong.
Because you also heard other Aboriginal people from around the world share their song and dance as well.
Yes. Apart from my culture, there were other indigenous, First Nation people, those people were part of Niran, they showed their culture, to Australian, also to the world. But it's good that we come together and we share.
It's very similar to Natsia, isn't it? Like big indigenous mob up there.
Absolutely, yeah.
No, absolutely what you said, Brook. There are lots of. You come up to down, there are lots of artists. Oh,
Yeah, we've really found that effect from the COVID lockdown, that stopping the coming together of events like the Nazis and, looking back at Niran.
yes.
Yeah.
We're very lucky that we had that Niran before COVID hit Sydney.
Yeah.
But with this next year, I think also with the COVID hitting the end, unbelievable. What this, having this Zoom, I think things are working. But what this COVID, it's I'm very lucky on the island.
And maybe could we just stop the slide show just for a second? We'll come back to it.
Yeah.
Pedro, and I know that Will and you and I have been speaking about when you were at Natsia, you had to do a private performance for the judges, which is a very different experience, as you say, because of COVID. And I'm just wondering, for those people who were in Darwin or couldn't make it to Darwin or didn't see you, the song and the performance, the dance that goes with your work up there. Is there anything you wanted to share about that so people can have an idea of what they would have?
What people would have seen if they were they'd been able to come.
The works at Natsia.
Yeah.
The works are in Natsia, that magnet in Darwin is the Tunga. Fighting stick and ceremonial ornaments. So those works are in Natsia, in Darwin.
And you gave a performance for the judges, yeah?
Thus, before I did a little look in the video. I did a little performing for the judges. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, discussing COVID, we were talking about it, weren't we? That
Yes.
Pedro was meant to do a performance for the opening as well, weren't you? Which was unfortunately cancelled. Due to travel restrictions, and the performance ended up becoming for the judges only. But do you want to talk a bit about that, or do you want to talk a bit about that, about what the performance was like? It was really beautiful. I was there, but it was you calling out on the way in, carrying the objects into the gallery space,
putting the ornaments on, then also holding the fighting stick in the basket, Tunga, walking in the gallery, then calling out to my ancestors, letting them know that my works are now being part of that Natsia Award, being shown, being seen, also of me recording, calling out, also singing. It's it's like understand and also listen. So the little performance for the judges.
And maybe if we could see the other slides again, please. Because Pedro, you've got a lot of history there, hey, of you being a little one.
Oh,
Yeah, this is a picture from 40 years ago, isn't it, Pedro? In fact, you told me at the opening of the museum and art gallery 40 years ago, Mickey Geranium gave you the Tide dance. Do you want to talk a little bit about the old people in this photograph?
so the old people here, yes, they've all passed away a long time. These old people here, there's my grandmother there, my father's mother, and my grandmother there, my mother's mother. And I'm in the middle there, little boy there. These old people, 1981, we got invited for the opening of the museum. And we went in. We flew from Imeuja, Garden Point, then to Darwin. So the old man was there. My uncle father, Mickey Geranium. Then we started dancing. There are lots of different cultures from around. Then we're dancing there. Then I dance. That Thai dance, that the opening. To the museum in Darwin.
And the picture on the right, that's of a few years later of you dancing the Tide dance at the opening of Jilamara Arts and Crafts. Do you want to talk a little bit about, that would have been about the time that you moved to Milikapiti, yeah? Do you want to talk a bit about?
When the art center opened, then my parents moved to Milikapiti. Then I was in boarding school in Darwin. Boarding school. Then I came back to Milikapiti. After my grandmother passed away, then I came to Milikapiti, moved here with my parents, my brothers and my sister. Then Jilamara Art Center opened. Then I started working there. Then the art center opening, then I got involved for dancing. So dancing, here of me dancing is the Thai dance. The tide of the sea. The tide goes out and the tide, of course, it comes back in. So this dance The third dance was given to me by that old man, Mickey Geranium. The old man passed away. Now I've got that dance. Also with that dance, I have song connect with the dance.
And these people, they're wearing the Pirmitki, the feather headpiece.
And the old people here at museum, some of those old people are. The old ladies got armband. Some of the old people, old men, they got armband, Pirmitki. Armband, headpiece, Pirmitki. Feather ball, brolga, Tokwayinga, feather ball.
Wow.
So,
And these are important parts of your work for the Nazis as
Yes.
well. Do you want to talk about the...
you know, part of like ceremony. Also, you can bring work that connects to the ceremony. You can bring it into Nazia. So these works I put in Nazia, these works, they connect to the ceremony. So, Mandali?
Wow. And this is a still image from the video that plays in the space, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And then we have pictures of the of the ornaments, yeah?
We do.
These are the works that I put in Nazia. Park basket, Tunga, Pirmitki, headpiece, Tokwayinga, feather ball, Imeuja, or spade, Tjimirrikamarka, parting sticks.
Now, Pedro, in Tiwi, Jilamara and Tjimirrikamarka, like the types of design, you've spoken about how they all relate to disguise. Are the ceremonial ornaments also part of the way that a person disguises themselves for Pukamani ceremony, as well as the body painting?
Did like body painting, like I do painting here, Jilamara. Also, when we have ceremony, they have face painting, body painting. It's to disguise. When you're going to a ceremony, you're entering the ceremony ground, dancing ground. You're disguising yourself. You will never be recognized. So that very great, whether it's the face painting, body painting. Your disguise.
Mm. Pedro, people are asking in the people who are watching this are asking about about continuing culture and ceremony and language, and if the young kids, very involved learning.
No, I think this young people, there's few my age, few older, young, and even little ones. There's some interested, There's people out there, they want to learn, they want to understand. Also, they want to learn the song. These young people out there, they want to come and work the art center here and they want to learn. Also, they want to learn the language, the song.
Yeah, there's been, from the perspective of Jilamara, there's been a few funding opportunities during COVID as well to run culture classes and stuff like that. In fact, I think these are from, you've got some items here maybe from some of those classes that you're running with the young boys. This one.
Pirmitki, yeah, so I've made some for the art center, but also for next year. But I made, yeah, working through the art center. I make, so when we culture class, we get school from Milikapuri Primary School, they come to the art center. Then we talk in language, then we show them some of these ornaments I made. So some of the ornaments that I make here, then I explain. This goes to the head. This feather ball goes around your neck. And that false beard goes. So this one, I explain to primary school students when they come to the art center. They want to learn, they want to understand.
And Pedro, what are the birds? I mean, I can guess the birds, but to collecting the feathers.
No, it's the white cockatoo and also the red-tailed cockatoo, black cockatoo. So these ones, for this we use for making up these ornaments.
And we have about 10 minutes to go, I think. And I'm just wondering, you know, because you've traveled internationally and also other family members, and you shared with us how important it was to go to the Vatican and to sing to the people and all the ornaments there. But you and I are also giving a talk at the Gropius Bau in Berlin. They have a show next September around repair, care and healing, but they have a conference there, which is happening early November. How important is it for you and your family to share this internationally?
I think I find it really, you know, I find it really good. You know, coming from here, my culture, sharing it to another culture, the other side of the world, you know. I think my culture is open. My language, my song. it's out there for the people to understand. I'm happy to share. As an artist, I want to share.
Pedro,
And,
sorry, Brook, you go.
that's okay. You go for it.
Oh, I was just going to say on that note, Pedro, you're obviously no stranger to the camera. You're a very successful artist and you've had a great career over so many years. But I'm really interested to hear from you about, technology has been changing in a way that, the Art Centre can now, own technology to shoot these films of performances and to record audio and to store it here at the Art Centre. How do you feel moving forward? I'm sure that you're very familiar with film crews of Muratawi outsiders coming into the Tiwis to shoot. How do you feel working on these projects, producing film and sound and audio yourself here at the Art Centre?
So, well, I first felt really shy. I was really young then, but I was really shy. Then I thought, no. Then I started working through the Art Centre. Then more of getting involved in recording, filming, camera. From there and now today, having working for the arts and also having this, recording camera, the modern camera, recording. I find it really strong. Having me recording, calling up, but working with new technology stuff such as camera and recording and all that. That modern driver that on, but when they record, then you hear yourself singing, then you feel very strong, very proud, very happy,
Yeah. And just going on that, in fact, you'll kind of ask a very similar question to what I was going to anyway. But I know that, with the yoi and, the image before that was shown for the Gropius Bow talk, someone's asking if you can provide details, maybe the agency can do that. It's so important, this video work that you all made this, for yourselves, because you were saying that a lot of people like Qantas and other, non-TV mob were coming in and wanting to film you, and you decided to, do this yourself. So you have ownership over it. You can, as Will said, be in that digital space for yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for people that are curious about the project, it's obviously, Brook and Pedro are going to be talking about it as part of that program in November, which will be great. But yeah, in short, it was a collaborative film project, wasn't it? Produced by the Art Centre,
Yes.
involving 30 artists dancing on country. It's really a beautiful thing. And Pedro is a huge part of the production. So yeah, really excited to hear you guys talk about it later in the year.
Not far away.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, it is. Yeah, early November. I think there's a link in there in the chat.
Perfect.
Actually, yeah, that Kate's put in there.
Well, I might jump in, guys, if that's okay. And thank you.
Hi, Hannah.
Hello. What a fantastic chat. Pedro, Will, Brooke, thank you so much. I've just had a look through the questions, and I think you might have beat me to it, Brooke. I think we've covered... Oh, there might be one there. Have we got time for one, guys? So somebody's just asking about the difference between poles made for ceremony and poles made for art galleries. And Pedro, feel free to jump in, but also you might have something to say about that one as well. We kind of touched on it earlier, but are they the same? You're painting the same pukamani, the same poles, everything for the art gallery and for ceremony? Or are they different?
It's like now here back home, here at Milikapri, now is the season for ceremony. So when we are making poles for ceremony, the timber is different.
Wow.
Different timber to the one we make for exhibitions and galleries. Also the one in Sydney I've made for the Nirin, for the First Nation people. The ones in ceremony is very different.
Right.
The timber is very different, but also the designs on the ones on the poles in exhibitions, also designs on the poles in ceremonies. They're never the same.
Yeah.
So the poles in exhibitions are ironwood. Also, when they are painted different. Also, the ones in ceremony, the timber is different. Also, they are painted different.
And I remember you once said to me that the ones for ceremony are made for a particular somebody. There's that.
Also sometimes the carver, or also the owner of that pole is the in-law. But also sometimes the design sometimes comes from the artist, the person. Also the poles in the ceremony, and also the one in exhibitions are different timber.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's so good to know. I think we're all lucky to see your work, Pedro, and it's amazing to see you on this, international stage. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And Brooke and Will, everybody, it's been a really rich discussion, and I hope one day to make it up there. I hope all of us can one day make it up there and visit Jilamara. So yeah, thank you. And thank you to everybody that's watched tonight, the supporters of Agency. A big thank you to the team at Agency. Before we head off, I'm super excited to share for everybody that is heartbroken for missing out on the art fair in Darwin and now Desert Mob. with all these lockdowns. Next week, online Untold event will take place at Imeuja in Alice Springs, live for Desert Mob 30 celebrations. Pedro, you'll have to tune in. We've got special guest speakers and it should be a good night. Hot tip, we've also got Noongar woman, acclaimed writer and agency advisory committee member, Claire G. Coleman, who's bringing us all the action on Desert Mob for her Desert Mob Diary, which you can check out on our Instagram. So thanks everyone. And yeah, great talk. Can't wait for next week. Take care, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Bye. Thank you. Bye. See you next time, Brook. See ya.